700 boats, 2 harbors, more than 50,000 visitors in 6 days. And after 3 hours on the pontoons, one visitor is no longer quite sure what he is looking at. My name is Tomek Grzesiński. I'm an independent yacht broker based in Monaco, and I come to the Cannes Yachting Festival every year for work. This film is for you if you are planning your first visit and do not want to waste 3 days or spend the entire trip feeling lost. I will start with a simple way to avoid paying for a ticket. A 2-day pass costs 65 euros per person. And at the end, I will show you the best moment of the entire week. It does not happen inside the show. I will take you through it in order. What to do 3 weeks before, the day before, on the morning of your first day, and once you are on the pontoons. I have also put everything into a free guide. The link is in the description. The Cannes Yachting Festival takes place every September and runs for 6 days, from Tuesday to Sunday. The first surprise is that this is not one show in one location. It is spread across 2 harbors. Vieux Port is the main part of the show and where you will find the motor yachts. Port Canto, further along the Croisette, is primarily dedicated to sailing yachts. If motor yachts are your priority, you will spend most of your time in Vieux Port. The same ticket covers both harbors and a water shuttle runs between them. Around 700 vessels are on display, from 3-meter boats to yachts of roughly 50 meters. The opening hours shape your entire day. From Tuesday to Thursday, the show runs from 10 in the morning until 7 in the evening. The weekend hours are similar. Friday is the exception. The show remains open until 10 at night, giving you the only opportunity to view the yachts after dark, with their lights on. In the evening, the yachts look completely different. You see the interiors illuminated, the deck lighting in use, and the reflections across the water. The exhibitors make full use of the late opening. Between 8 and 10, many stands host cocktail parties and informal evening receptions. There is music, champagne, and people talking on the decks. The atmosphere is completely different from a day spent walking the show in the sun. It is also your only chance to see how these yachts really look and feel after dark, which is how you will often use them. If you can choose only one evening at the show, make it Friday. The atmosphere is genuinely different from every other day. My first practical recommendation is simple. Do not plan your main visit for the weekend. On Saturday and Sunday, the pontoons are crowded. Queues form at the popular yachts, and exhibitors spend most of their time managing visitor traffic. If you are there to discuss a genuine purchase, not simply to look around, choose Wednesday or Thursday. You will have time to board properly and hold a serious conversation. The yacht is the same and the representative is the same, but the quality of the conversation is completely different. Now, a word about tickets, because there is one thing worth knowing before you travel. There is no ticket office at the show. Tickets are sold online and issued electronically. That does not mean you will be turned away if you have not bought one in advance. You can purchase it on your phone at the entrance and go straight in. The QR code arrives immediately and is scanned at the gate. Buying in advance is easier, but if necessary, you can do it at the last minute. Now for the figures that are rarely explained before the trip. The ticket prices. A 1-day ticket costs 40 euros, while a 2-day pass is 65. A family ticket for 2 adults and 2 teenagers costs 120 euros. A standard ticket covers both harbors and the water shuttle between them, so it gives you access to the entire show. The upgraded packages are considerably more expensive. A comfort ticket costs 120 euros. VIP packages start at 250, and the top option for 2 people for the full week exceeds 1,600 euros. Is that worthwhile on a first visit? In my view, no. You are mainly paying for a separate entrance and lounge access, not better access to the yachts. Now for the method I promised you. How to avoid paying for a ticket altogether. Yacht brokers and brand dealers receive their own allocation of client tickets for the show. It is a normal part of doing business there. If you arrange a viewing in advance, your broker or dealer can often provide the ticket. You simply have to ask. And if that one tip saves you the price of admission, subscribe to the channel. This is where I separate practical buyer advice from show marketing. But the complimentary ticket is actually the smallest benefit of making contact early. You can also avoid much of the queuing without paying anything extra. There are no scheduled commercial flights into Cannes. The nearest practical airport is Nice, on the French Riviera. Nice offers direct flights to around 130 destinations in 47 countries, across Europe, North America, the Middle East, and North Africa. Many cities are usually the easiest departure point, because there are several direct flights a day. For this trip, your arrival time matters more than the city you depart from. A late afternoon or evening arrival can wipe out your first show day before it starts. The show closes at 7, so the day you arrive is effectively lost. You reach the hotel, and that is the end of the day. Choose a morning flight if you can. Land before 10, and Cannes is roughly half an hour from Nice airport. That means you can reach the show around midday and gain almost an entire extra day. If there is no direct service from your city, connect through a major hub, such as Paris, Amsterdam, Frankfurt, Zurich, London, or Istanbul. Let me answer the question that will inevitably appear in the comments. What about flying to Marseille or Genoa instead of Nice? In terms of time, it rarely makes sense. The train from Marseille to Cannes takes more than 2 hours, while the journey from Genoa is close to 4. Any saving on the airfare can easily cost you half a day. Airfares vary sharply by origin and date. September is busy on the Côte d'Azur, so last-minute fares can easily cost twice as much. Book early and check the current fare before you commit, because prices on this route can change from one day to the next. Nice Airport is roughly 30 kilometers from Cannes. Taxis operate on a fixed fare, usually around 85 euros. There may be small supplements in the evening, at weekends, and on public holidays. A larger car or a van for a group will naturally cost more. The cheaper option is the coastal train, which involves a connection. After a flight with luggage, it is not always the most convenient choice. Now for the decision that, in my experience, has the greatest impact on the comfort of the entire trip. Your hotel. Choose a hotel as close to the show as possible. Do not choose a cheaper district 20 minutes away just to save a little on the room. The reason is simple: your legs. After a full day on the pontoons, the last thing you want is another journey across town. Ideally, you should be able to walk back to your room within 15 minutes. Cannes is extremely busy during show week. Walking is usually the quickest and most reliable way to get around, not driving. Hotels in Cannes fill up well in advance for show week, and prices rise sharply. This is not a week to leave accommodation until the last minute. The free guide includes specific hotels with links to their websites, the closest options to the show, and more affordable ones a little further away. Another question I am asked all the time is how many days you actually need at the show. The answer is 2. 2 at most. And I say that as someone who comes here every year for work. Inspecting yachts and spending hours walking the pontoons is far more tiring than it appears. The September sun on the French Riviera is still strong. You can easily cover more than 10 kilometers across concrete quays and pontoons, and every yacht means another gangway to climb. By the third day, your head is spinning. All the yachts start to look alike, and you are no longer sure what you actually like. A better plan is 2 days at the show and 1 quieter day nearby. You will see just as much, but you will leave with a clearer head and a better comparison of the yachts. Do not try to see everything. If you allow time to inspect properly, have a serious conversation and spend time on board, you will realistically see only a handful each day, not dozens. There is one more question that almost every couple planning this trip asks me. One of you may happily spend 8 hours on the pontoons, while the other has had enough after 2. That is completely normal. Cannes makes that easy, because the alternatives are only a few minutes walk from the show entrance. The Croisette is lined with boutiques, cafes, and restaurants, all within a compact area. Across the road are private beaches with loungers and bars. So instead of 8 hours on the pontoons, one of you can have a quiet coffee overlooking the sea. The simplest solution is to agree on a time and a place. Each of you spends half the day your own way, and you meet for lunch afterwards. And before someone points it out in the comments, I know the roles are often reversed. I know plenty of women who have to drag their husbands from yacht to yacht. Right, you are at the show, the ticket is on your phone, and you walk through the entrance. This is where the part nobody warns you about begins. You cannot simply walk aboard any yacht you choose. A member of the exhibitors team is waiting at the gangway, and registers every visitor before they board. You provide your name, email address, telephone number, and sometimes your company name. This is standard procedure throughout the industry. The exhibitor is letting you aboard a yacht worth millions, and in return wants to know who has been on board. That is a fair exchange. There is little point arguing about it. If you do not want to provide your details, you will not be allowed on board. That is how these shows operate. The problem is that registration takes time. With 10 people ahead of you, the wait for a single yacht can easily reach 20 minutes. There is one simple way to save a great deal of time and frustration. Bring business cards. Instead of spelling your name and email address to a French hostess at every gangway, simply hand over a business card. The whole registration takes seconds. You do not need a company or a job title on the card. Your name, email address, and telephone number are enough. And this brings me back to the method I mentioned earlier for shortening queues without paying extra. Book your viewings in advance. Contact the broker or the dealer representing the brand you are interested in and agree a specific time. Then you arrive at the agreed time. The team is expecting you, the registration is ready, and you step aboard without joining the general queue. Instead of seeing 3 yachts in a day and spending half your time in queues, you can inspect 6 or 7 properly, at a relaxed pace with time to talk. That is the biggest practical difference in this entire film. If you want more advice that genuinely saves time when choosing and buying a yacht, subscribe to the channel. Now for a few details that sound trivial until you have spent 8 hours at the show. You board every yacht, either without shoes or wearing protective shoe covers. It is standard practice and there are no exceptions. Now do the maths. 6 yachts in a day means taking your shoes off and putting them back on 12 times. If they are laced, you will feel as though you have spent half the day doing it. Wear slip-on shoes, loafers, deck shoes, anything you can remove in one movement. It sounds minor, but by the 6th viewing, it makes a real difference. And wear socks you are happy to be seen in. You will be walking around someone else's yacht in them, often in front of the owner or the sales representative. Dress lightly and comfortably. September in Cannes is still summer. Bring sunglasses, water, and a light layer for the evening, because it becomes cooler beside the water. Lunch is another detail few people think about when planning the trip, yet it can genuinely save your second day. There are food outlets inside the show, but at lunchtime, everyone arrives at once. My advice is to leave the show for lunch. Cannes has plenty of good restaurants within walking distance, and re-entry is straightforward. This is not only about the food. For an hour, you sit down, stop looking at yachts, and give your mind a proper break. When you return, you begin noticing details again. Without that pause, you simply walk past one yacht after another. During show week, reserve your table in advance. Cannes is full, and the good restaurants book up quickly. Now for the best moment of the entire week that I promised you. It happens outside the show. On Saturday at 10 in the evening, after the industry gala, a yacht parade takes place on the water in front of the Croisette. 25 yachts are selected for the parade. Fully illuminated, they cruise past the shoreline one after another. More than 10,000 people gather along the promenade. That is the moment when Cannes looks exactly as you imagined it would. You do not need a ticket or an invitation. You only need to find a place along the Croisette. There are, however, 2 more comfortable ways to watch the parade. Several restaurants along the Croisette have their own private beaches, with a direct view of the parade from the tables. You can reserve dinner there for that evening. 2 things. First, book well in advance. For that one evening, the best tables are reserved very early. That is why the free guide lists the restaurants and their telephone numbers, so you can call them directly instead of searching for the details yourself. Second, these restaurants serve a fixed menu that evening. You do not order à la carte. You receive a set meal with a starter, main course, and dessert. The price can reach 220 euros per person, not per table. And I want to be fair here, because it matters. The food is excellent. This is a proper tasting menu, not a compromise designed for a crowd. They do it for 2 reasons. The first is practical. With every table occupied, one fixed menu is the only way the kitchen can serve everyone properly that evening. The second reason is simpler. With an à la carte menu, someone could order a salad and occupy the best parade view table for 3 hours. If you do not want to spend that amount, there is a much simpler and less expensive option. Go to one of those restaurants at around 10, not for dinner, but for a drink at the bar. Each of these restaurants has a private beach with loungers. Take your drink down to the beach, sit on a lounger, and watch the parade with a front row view. If you are staying until Saturday, keep that evening free. 1 hour there may stay with you longer than 2 full days walking the pontoons. If this is a serious buying trip, visit the show in the middle of the week and return only for the Saturday evening parade. Let me bring the entire plan together. The plan is simple: an electronic ticket, ideally provided by your broker, a flight to Nice, a hotel close to the show, 2 days in the middle of the week, slip-on shoes, business cards, lunch outside the venue, and Saturday evening on the beach. Only when you put it all together do you see how many details determine whether the trip works. Tickets, arrival times, the day of the week, registration, business cards, Friday evening and the Saturday parade. And this is only what I could fit into the film. On site, there are dozens of smaller details. That is why I created the free guide. It covers hotels, parade view restaurants with telephone numbers, lunch options, nearby shops, opening hours and prices. It is all condensed into a few pages. The link is in the description and the pinned comment, and it costs you nothing. So the most important advice is simple. Do not arrive without a plan. If this is a genuine buying trip, speak to your broker in advance and have the entire visit planned before you leave home. A good broker will build the viewing schedule, agree specific times, confirm where each yacht is berthed, and accompany you throughout the show. More importantly, they will explain what you are looking at. 2 similar yachts on neighboring pontoons can differ in ways an owner may only discover during the second season. Let me say this plainly, because people ask me all the time. This does not cost the buyer extra. The broker is paid by the selling side, not by you. And if you want more films that look at yachts and transactions from the buyer's side, subscribe to the channel. That is exactly the perspective I bring to every yacht and every deal. If you are planning a visit to Cannes and want a specific viewing schedule prepared, contact me. I will organize it and accompany you at the show. If you have any questions about the trip, leave them in the comments below this video. I will answer everyone. What I really want to know is whether you are going simply to look or whether you are genuinely considering a purchase. Tell me in the comments, because those are 2 completely different trips. Before you go to Cannes, watch one more film about things on yachts that should not work. It is already waiting for you on screen.